It's story time.
Hello,
Oh, sorry.
hello, welcome to the Storytime podcast. And this week I am here with Thomas Fanning. Would you like to tell people where to find you on the internet?
Thomas Fanning with no vowels on Twitter, and the FNJ on Instagram, which I've been told is very annoying.
It's very annoying. So
I might correct that. By the
what
time
I'm going to do is I'm going to put the links in the description in the show notes on SoundCloud, because otherwise no one will ever find it.
I'll let you know if I update it. If I update it beforehand, I'll let you know. It's,
okay.
Have a week.
I'll put in a voiceover and post.
I might have to buy my handle though. That would be terrible.
I'm sure that you won't. Okay, so FANJ, you're here to tell me about something that I still can't pronounce.
Well, I think, should we not explain why I'm here first, how I've ended up on the podcast?
Okay.
Because now everybody comes on with like a point of view, or representing something, and other than Neil, I'm like...
Neil did the travel stories. So yeah, FANJ and I are mates. We play tag together.
And I've been badgered to come on the podcast.
Fiance for years.
I'm cousins.
You're also related to my fiance.
Just about, yeah.
So yeah, they know Alex. Actually, Alex got sent, I don't know if I told you this, into my P.O. box recently. Alex got sent it was just a box, and the note said, "This is for Alex, pays to be famous Alex," and it was 3 jars of honey.
Why?
I have no idea. They didn't explain.
It was a fan of yours sent it to him. And is he going to eat the honey?
No,
I couldn't fucking touch it, Jesus Christ. Oh my God. You feed some to the dog first and see what happens. Not a chance.
I eat everything sent to me. I probably shouldn't say that.
I shouldn't say that, it's a joke. Hire an intern to sample your food or something.
Like in the olden days.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah.
So you asked me to come on the podcast, and I eventually said yes.
To come on the podcast.
And then I had to come up with a subject which I didn't think was how you did it. And so all my subjects were like me telling stories that were like, oh, needless to say, I had the last laugh, which wasn't great. And then I wanted to come on and talk about people killing elephants, which is really interesting, but it's not my story, so we took that away.
It's really interesting, but it's you haven't been personally killed an elephant, so...
Yeah, so instead we're going to do the Seinfeld, and we're going to talk about me doing effectively nothing for 2 weeks.
Okay.
Which is basically this whole story, but we'll get 20 minutes out of it, I hope.
So what's it called? You've told me 3 times, I still can't pronounce it.
Vipassana.
Vipassana.
Yeah.
And what is Vipassana?
So it's a Buddhist kind of meditation. It was brought to the West by a guy called Goenka, who will feature heavily in my story. And it's the idea. I think the idea is that you're meant to become more mindful of the world around you, and what they're ultimately trying to do is achieve a place where you only feel kind of happiness. Which again, we can come back to that. But yeah, so that's so it's a meditation discipline, and to do it, you have to live like a monk for like 10, 11 days, and then that kind of gets you to level 1, and then you can. That sounds like Scientology.
I'm just gonna get my tea here.
Okay, so you have to do a course where there's a whole lot of rules and stuff you have to abide by for the duration, and then after that you become an old student, and then you can do shorter amounts of time if you want.
Okay, can I ask you? I'm going to jump in every so often and ask questions.
Please.
When I was in, I feel like it was secondary school, they brought us to some retreat place somewhere, and everyone was really quiet for ages. It was this retreat where you went on silent retreats. That's not the same thing.
It was silent too. We're silent.
But it's probably not the same thing. It's just similar.
No, it wouldn't be. This was quite intense. Like, so I think I'm gonna. Can I jump back? Can I take over?
Yeah, go for it.
Jump back. So how I didn't just decide one day I was going to go down to Ennis and live like a monk for 2 weeks. There's a little bit of background to it, and like every great story, it starts off with me having insomnia. So in 2009, I was suffering from like chronic. I'm normally a good sleeper, but I was getting like chronic insomnia. Like it was really, really bad. Like it was like I'd go into work some days at like 5 a.m. because I just hadn't been able to get to bed, and I'd just go in, and then maybe midday would go home, and I was completely all over the place. So I was trying to solve this, and one of the things that was recommended to me was meditation. So I started doing meditation, and it almost immediately started working really well. It was like 5-10 minutes of like mindfulness a day. It was great. It helped me. It wasn't just helping me even with the sleep. It was actually helping me with other parts of my life. Like it was really like this is really great. But of course, me being me, I couldn't just like be happy with this like 10-minute practice that was making benefits to my life, I had to like find the more extreme way of doing it. I had to like, I couldn't just do like the basic bitch meditation that works for everyone. I had to go and do this like really, really intense course. So I heard about this thing, Vipassana, through a friend of a friend, and she'd done it, I think at least twice, and she loved it, said it was amazing. And I didn't really know a whole lot about it. I just knew she went down for like 2 weeks and remained silent and apparently figured loads of shit out about yourself. So I was like, cool. So I found out where they did it. I read up a little bit more about it, and then I signed up and had some mails back and forth. So that was how I came to end up doing this thing. So so the kind of background of it is that you have to live like a monk. So you can't pay to do the course. You have to be allowed to do it for free.
Oh.
And you have to keep their schedule when you're down there. So another thing, this isn't a cult. I really feel like...
How do they make money?
Well, after you can donate afterwards if you choose. So yeah, I shouldn't, not a cult. There's going to be a lot of not a cult going on here. So you have to live their schedule. There's a whole load of rules that they tell you about before, and there's like commitments you have to make. So like the rules are kind of like, they were all fine except one. Like there was no killing, which I wouldn't do anyway. There was no lying, which...
Wait, what does no killing extend to? Because obviously you're not going to kill humans, but does this include like you can't kill like a ladybird?
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Does it count food? Did you have to be vegetarian, no killing?
Basically, I'll come to the diet, because the diet was quite extreme as well, but it's basically vegan for most of it, like, yeah. So
you love that.
I like veggie food. I had fucking veggie dinner yesterday.
Okay.
Fuck you. I don't know. These perceptions are heavy. But anyway.
So sorry, the rules.
So there was no killing, no lying, no stealing, and then there's like they're kind of like the hard rules, and there's things like you can't read, you can't write, you can't do any other religious stuff, no intoxicants. But then the one that really bothered me was like no sexual misconduct. So why not like just... I assume what they meant was no wanking, but like instead they're like no sexual misconduct, and I was like,
I did not put that. I thought it meant don't harass the people in the camp with you.
Wait, but that's what bothered me. Like, because you think that like what happened before that they had to like specify sexual misconduct like that. Like you would just think I go through life taking that as a given that you don't do that. Misconduct.
I was saying this to Alex yesterday. How many people does it take for a rule or a sign to have to be put in place? So in my gym there's a sign that says do not take razors onto the pool deck.
Yeah.
How many people had to do that before a sign had to go over?
Exactly, yeah. And it's like
surely you know not to bring razors on the fucking pool deck.
Yeah, no, it's true. And yeah, you don't worry about something until suddenly there's a rule against this. It's like, what the fuck happened? That like so the misconduct thing. So I was like, all right, great. But yeah.
So no wanking for 2 weeks.
So no wanking for 2 weeks, which is fine. I can pick it back up after. That was my attitude. What I didn't want them calling it misconduct because I have enough Catholic guilt. I didn't want to I don't know if there's Buddhist guilt. There shouldn't be, but they might lump it on. So. Sorry. So there's all this stuff.
Yeah, you just don't need the shame. I don't need the judging.
I don't want the Buddhists judging me as well, basically. Although they're going to watch this and they're going to go, this fucking idiot. But anyway,
I'm sure they're going to remember you from that time you were there.
No, but if any Buddhists are watching this, I'm sorry. I really am. I did not have a good time on your fucking camp.
Spoiler alert for the story.
Why else would I be here? Like, Joe Duffy wouldn't take my call, so now I'm on.
Okay, the Americans are going to have to explain that. Basically, Joe Duffy is a call-in show where people call in and moan, and that's all they ever do.
It's amazing.
And it's like an Irish thing. If you have a complaint, they go, "You should call Joe Duffy."
Yeah, I'd recommend it. It's actually great. But sorry, we're yeah. So
no anger for 2 weeks.
No anger for 2 weeks. Spoiler alert! I did it. I hope my mum doesn't watch this. Right. Yeah. So. Yeah. So I've got this course coming up, and there's a ride sharing thing. So I go on the ride sharing thing again. Nothing to do with what I just said. This is like a lift to. The Americans know what riding is. Like they know what it actually means. It's the Irish. That doesn't matter.
Yeah, they don't know the Irish version. Which is sex.
So I so I get in the ride share thing, and I find someone who can give me a lift down. It's a girl, so we get in touch, and you know, it comes the big day, and like I'll meet her on Capel Street, and there's 2 other people doing the course, so there's 4 of us in the car. And we're driving down, and the girl who's driving has never done it before. I've never done it before, but the other 2 passengers have. There was an Irish guy and another girl who I think was Polish. Like, I can't remember, it was a long time ago. So we're driving down, and everybody's like, you know, full of chat, and we're having the crack in the car. And the Irish guy who'd done it before, he was giving me loads of good tips, which was actually quite useful. And I think it helped me get through the first couple of days, like some of the advice he gave me. So we're driving down, but you know, it's a long way to Ennis, and after a while, you know, we get bored, like, or we just run out of conversation. So the driver puts some music on, so she sticks ABBA on, and I have no problem with ABBA, but I'm like, in my head, I'm like, this is the last music I'm going to hear for like 2 fucking weeks, and it's ABBA. Like, I'm going to have fucking ABBA in my head for like 2, like, are any of your Patreon Swedish?
I don't know.
I don't know. Well, anyway, like, I don't want to trash ABBA. And, like, yeah. But like, I don't know. Like, the ABBA are fine. I've no problem with ABBA, but like, this is the last music I'm going to hear, and I fucking love music. This is the last music I'm going to hear for 2 weeks. It's fucking ABBA.
You also love very different music to like ABBA. You like,
I like all music.
You like, yeah.
But maybe not ABBA.
Yeah. And like, I can imagine if you'd put on your music, they wouldn't have liked it in the car.
Oh well, no, I can play to the crowd. That's not fair. I can.
You strike me as not a huge fan of the mainstream music.
I like pop music. I listened to that Taylor Swift song. It was alright. You want me to say?
Come on, there's ABBA in the car.
So ABBA's on in the car, and I'm sulking, as I tend to do, because it's like, I just think I'm just going to have Mamma Mia in my head for like 2 fucking weeks. But then the CD starts skipping, and no one, like, we're driving down, and the ABBA CD is skipping, and nothing's being done about it, and I'm like sitting in the car, I'm like, what the fuck is that? It's not only just going to be ABBA, it's going to be like this weird, like, skipping sound that's just been playing for like what seems like 20 minutes. And I'm looking at the like speedometer on the car, and I'm trying to work out if I just open the door, can I just like pull out? Will it be okay? Like, I'm really starting to regret this already. Like, I haven't even got there, and I'm already like, what the fuck am I doing? So the driver, to be fair, eventually realised the CD is skipping. She puts on, and I'm not joking, fucking Celine Dion.
Oh no!
So I'm like, ABBA was fine. Like, Celine Dion, this is like hell. And we're honestly pulling into this place, and it was the second. It must have been the greatest hits or something, because the second track was My Heart Will Go On, and we're pulling into Ennis, and My Heart Will Go On is playing, and I'm just like, I'm actually expecting to get there and there'd be like a hidden camera show all there. Like, this whole thing was just a big wind up. So we arrive, and I go in, and I go sign in, and I had the option to surrender my phone, and that was another thing. I really, one of the things I promised myself going down was that when I got there, I was really going to try my best to follow all the rules, and to, like, you know, I'm quite cynical, as you know. Yeah, I was just going to take everything they said at face value, and I was going to try my best not to unpack it until after. So the cynic gun was being turned to almost zero. That was a big promise to myself. I was going to try to stick to the rules. So when I was signing in, you can surrender your phone.
Yeah.
And I decided not to, but I said to myself, I won't hand the phone in, but I'll keep it off. And then I have it, because if I want to escape or whatever, I have the phone, and I don't have to go get it. So I kept the phone, and then after I signed in, your mum was like, okay, you've got I think we'd like 45 minutes or an hour until there was a meeting, so I could go up to the room and chill out. So I'm like, oh, fucking great. So I'm like, straight to the room, headphones in. It's like, I'm now going to just listen to music for the next hour, and I'm going to burn Celine Dion and ABBA out of my brain. I'm just going to burn it all out. So I went to the room, and I was sharing a room with people. This is the other thing, actually. When I was checking in, they told me most of the rooms were meant to be rooms of 2. You didn't know, it was just randomly assigned someone. I was in a room of 3, which I really took down to, like, this is the room. People aren't going to finish in this room. These are like the messers, you know, because there's no point.
Why would they put the messers together? I would think the opposite.
Well, just that at least one of them will have dropped out in a couple of days, and then instead of like wasting the room or something. So yeah, so
you felt like there's a target.
It was probably totally random. I'm just projecting that the Buddhists were already looking down their spiritual noses at me, and fuck you guys, I'll show you. So I turned up. None of my roommates are there, but there's a bunk bed and a single. So obviously I grabbed the single. So put music in for an hour, listen to music, go down for the meeting. We go to the meeting. Then, I'm kind of sketchy around the details, but I think go to the meeting, turn all the phones off, everything's off. Then we go up to the meditation hall. So we're separated, male and female. So like we're split, so we don't see each other for the rest of the thing.
This is no sexual misconduct.
So, no sexual misconduct. And yeah, it was just part of the way to do it, because so we go up to the meditation hall, And I still haven't met my roommates at this point, which was kind of bugging me because I never got to speak to them. Mm-hmm. So we go up to the...
because you were silent at this point.
No, this is just before. So we go up to the hall and then it's the silence starts. So we go up to the meditation hall, and so one of the bits of advice the Irish guy gave me was not get freaked out by the tapes, because they play these tapes and it's each like section is your man Goenka bringing you in, and he does this really weird like guttural noise that starts like and you guys sit there like,
not a cult.
what the fuck is this shit? Oh, sorry, this is the other thing. Sorry, I have to jump back. It's when you go to the rooms, or the first thing you do in the rooms, you have to set up where you're going to sit, because you're assigned a place and you're going to sit there for the entire like 2 weeks. So they had little stools. I saw some old people sitting in chairs, but like they encourage you to try sitting in the lotus position with your legs crossed.
Yeah.
So I have fucking terrible hips, as you probably noticed by tag. And
tag joke.
Fucking terrible. So yeah, do the American people tag rugby? Is like
no, they have flag football.
I know, I'm joking.
Yeah, but I don't think there's
Can I
hips
just talk down to the audience? Sorry. So you set up your thing. So I just got a few cushions, and I was determined because my hips are very tight. So I thought, if I just force myself to sit in the lotus position for like 15 hours a day, in no time I'll be like fucking I'll be a yoga by the time I get back. But so I set my thing up. I go for the extreme few cushions set up, and the Irish guy did say to me like make sure you sit in like strong back and stuff, because it can get quite tiring. So I set my thing up, and then the tape starts. It's that fucking weird noise, and we kind of I don't know what happens. We start anyway, and it's
him and on.
It's day 0. They call it day 0, and we're now into silence. So we finish whatever happened in the hall. I think they teach you the breathing, which is just all in through the nose, out through the mouth. In and out through the nose. Sorry. So they teach the breathing, and then we go to bed at around 9:30, which isn't my bedtime. But I was knackered because I'd been a long drive down. I stayed up late the night before, which was stupid. I stayed up late the night before because the first morning they wake you up at 4 a.m. So I had thought that, okay, if I get myself down there really tired, I'll fall asleep.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah, it made sense to me. It doesn't work.
Oh.
So 4 a.m. It's day 1, and they go around with this big gong, and like they walk around, everybody gets out of bed, and you're up to the meditation hall for 4:30. So I'm sitting in my seat, and then the tape starts, and you're just sitting there, and you're just breathing into your nose, out through your mouth, just trying to keep your mind clear. So that goes on until 6:30, and then we go down for breakfast, and everyone's queuing up. I don't really know what to do. So the guy ahead of me, he scoops out some porridge, puts it in a bowl. I copy him. Then he scoops some sort of fruit out. Don't know what it is. He puts it in his bowl. I do the same. I go sit down. It's fucking prunes. I was like, oh, it's so gross. I was like, oh my god. And then it was like there was very little food, and I was like, geez, this isn't great. So I ate my prune porridge because I was worried that I couldn't get seconds, and I was like, okay, I need to eat this. I'll die otherwise. So I eat my prune porridge. Back up to the meditation hall, and then we meditate again. Then we have like a lunch break. Then we have an hour off. The hour off was like, there's like a yard. You go, it's like prison. Like you just walk around in circles. Like I used to just walk around the yard in circles. Like
really does sound like prison.
Yeah. So you do this. This is your day, your schedule, and then at I think 7 or 8 o'clock in the evening, you go back up to the meditation hall after meditating all day, and then you watch a video of Goenka. So you go in, and they like wheel out this like old school the trolleys you have in school, like with the thing.
With the TV on.
Wheel out one of them. They start playing this DVD. It's your man Goenka, and he's talking to you. And what's mad about it is that there's always this woman sitting beside him, and I assume it's his wife, but I've no idea. Like in every single video, she just sits there and he's just talking to you, and he's like blah 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 blah, and then it's just this person beside him, and she never says anything, never does anything. I'm like, okay, but. So yeah, we watch the DVD. It's the end of the day. We go to bed at 9, and then it's lights out at 9:30.
Okay.
I had started the day with 2 roommates. When I got back to the room that night, one was gone already. Already gone.
And you never find out their name because you were never able to.
Never found out his name. I found out at the end. I don't know if I'm ruining the story, but on the last. See, now people know I finished. But on the last day, we were allowed to speak again, and someone told me that he. When you're watching the day 1 DVD at the end of the day, your man Goenka says, "Oh, congratulations! This is one of the hardest days, but remember this because day 7 and 8 are going to be even harder." And apparently, when he said that, your man just stood up and walked out, never to be seen again. So he's gone day 1. So it was just me and this other lad now in the room. So
maybe you were right, and they did put 3 together. It's the 3.
That's it. You see, teed up my story. Yeah. So I'm in the room with your man, and that night I can't sleep. So
This is the first night.
This is
first night.
second night. So we've done day 0, slept, and then done day 1, which is the first proper day of the course. Yeah. And I now can't get to sleep, and can't read, I can't write, I can't do anything, can't listen to my headphones. So I'm just like lying in bed, and it's like irony not lost to me that I now have insomnia, having, I started meditating to cure insomnia, and now I've gone to the extreme meditation thing, and I'm now suffering really badly from insomnia. So I don't sleep very well that night, and then 4 a.m, up out of bed again with the gong, and go 2 hours meditation, then we go back for breakfast. So we're doing the porridge thing again, and I'm looking at the prunes, and I'm like, all the portions are quite small. It was all vegetarian food, and I eat a lot of food, so I'm like, I should probably just take the fucking prunes. I was like, fuck it, I'll just take the prunes. It's because they're healthy. Like, so I was like, I'll just take them. By the end of the 2 weeks, I fucking loved prunes.
Yeah, you can train yourself to like anything.
I'd be ladling the juice on. Like, I fucking taking as little oats as possible. And like, just getting all these fucking prunes. Like, couldn't get enough of them. And then, I still love them. If anything good came out of this, it's that I now love prunes. So we go through day 2, and we kind of get, so this cycle, it's very regimented. It's the same cycle every day, like where you're just meditating the whole time. You've 1 hour break after lunch, and then it's kind of all on their thing. And I think it's like day 3 or day 4, they're like hyping you up for this is the big day, and this is where it's all going to happen. Like, so you're like kind of mentally preparing for this. And
for day 4,
I think it was day 4, I can't remember. It was a couple of days in. Yeah. It was like, so you did all this because you're just in the room, you're just breathing in and out through your nose, and you're trying to just keep your mind as clear as you can, which is difficult. And sure, your body's probably detoxing from media. Like, your body's, that's probably part of why you couldn't sleep, because you couldn't listen to music, or you couldn't read, or you couldn't do the normal things. Well, it's just going to bed at 9:30. Like, I don't think I've done that since I was 7. Like, yes, like I remember the time, you're trying to keep your mind clear, and then your mind's fucking with you, where it's like, it won't, like, I remember that embarrassing thing you did in secondary school. That was part of it. At one point, the most annoying point was, I can't remember when in those 2 weeks it happened, but every breath I kept hearing Tony Clifton from Man on the Moon shouting, "I will survive." That really, I will survive, and it's just that on loop in my head. I was like, please, I don't know, and it wouldn't stop. And the harder I tried to make it stop, the more it wanted to continue, and it went on for fucking hours, because you're in a hall with nothing to do. Like, it's, I will survive. Like, fuck this. So we're building up to the big day anyway, and that morning it was after breakfast. We were the shit was going to happen. Shit was going to go down after breakfast. So I'm like, really, because I've done all this nonsense for like 3 days or 4 days. I'm like, okay, now we're about to fucking get some results here. Yeah. So I didn't see in the kitchen that morning, they put up a notice saying, because it's like part of the thing I need to explain, you weren't allowed to talk, but you also weren't allowed to interact. So, like, I had a roommate who... So you couldn't be like... Well, my roommate came in, I couldn't give him thumbs up to make sure he was alright. You were just to pretend they didn't exist. Okay. Not pretend, but you just weren't, just to be no interaction. So you quickly become just very into your own little bubble. And that morning they put up a notice in the kitchen, which I'd missed, saying, this is the big moment. They want you to try stay as still as you possibly can for as long as you can. But then they have, it's not a torture exercise. Like, don't like hurt yourself doing it. I don't see the notice, so I'm really geared up now for this, and I really want this to work, because I've already invested 3 days of my life into this nonsense. So I'm like, okay, this is going to fucking happen. So I sit in the lotus position, and we start the thing, and what I'm hoping is that, like, I was thinking I was going to, like, some sort of transcendent thing. I was going to, like, break through. I was going to start tripping or something from all the meditation I was doing. Out-of-body experience. That's what I was hoping for. Instead, I'm just sitting there, and my hips are fucking burning, and I'm trying my best to tough it out. And this went on way too long, and I ended up just, like, fucking destroying my hip. I had to, and also nothing happened. There was all this shit, and nothing happened. And I had to... after that I had to go get like a little raised up thing because my hips were so bad. And so that all happened, and then so we have the big day and nothing happens, and it's the same routine every day, up at 4 a.m.
How is it a big day? You haven't really explained that. It was just like a big meditation, more important than the other days or something. See, this is the thing with it. Like, so your man, when you're watching the fucking Goenka on the DVD with his wife, I assume, they're always talking about people who did the Vipassana thing, and the first time they did it, they hit the top level where you suddenly have this like perpetual happiness state, and anyone I'd met beforehand hadn't hit that. So it was kind of like, so I think, that's the point where this is going to kick into gear and start making sense. But I didn't meet anyone who had worked for it, like, so but
So at the end of each day, we're watching DVDs, and so this is just now my routine. And as the week went on, my roommate started cracking. Like, I think a lot of people started cracking. I was probably cracking, but I really, like, my roommate was like, he started like bringing like rocks back to the room, like just little pebbles and stuff, and leaving them inside. I was like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Like, just little rocks. And then he started putting toilet paper on the door of our room.
Okay, now that's what.
So I couldn't close the door. So if I was in a room on my own, I couldn't close the door properly. I was like, what the fuck's he doing? So I kept taking it down. He kept putting it back up. But we weren't allowed to interact with each other.
Yeah.
So I had no idea why he was doing this, and he had no idea why I was taking it down. And again, I spoke to him at the end, and he actually... kind of glad I wasn't able to talk to him for the 2 weeks when I spoke to him at the end. I'm hoping he doesn't see this, which is a bit of a spa. But it turned out I was letting the door bang, and that was really annoying him, and I didn't realise. So he's putting the tissue as like a buffer, but then I couldn't let the door close. So this went on like all week, where he's putting the shit up, I was ripping it down. And he said he was so close to talking to me, like, because he was like, why is this guy like slamming the doors and like pulling down all the stuff? I didn't realise. So so all these rocks turned up, and I remember one day as well, like being in the fucking breakfast hall, and everyone had plastic bottles of water. It's so culty. Everyone had plastic bottles of water. Everyone's going around in like loose fitting clothes and plastic bottles of water, and like the guy sitting across from me at the table, like he was like peering into the bottle of water like for about 10 minutes, like just like eye against the bottle, like, and I was like, this isn't fucking good at all. Like, what the fuck is going on? So this goes on, this is my routine, and the other thing that was happening was...
Why was he peering into the water?
I don't know. He was completely unaware of everything in the room.
It's like you're telling me there's no answers.
There is no answers. This is the point of everything. There's no answers. But, and that's the other thing. So I'm in my routine now, and I also, when I'm in the yard, I'm walking obnoxiously around, like I'm power walking. I counted the steps it took, and then every time I do a lap, I want to hit that number of steps.
Yeah, you should have
I was like, I should have fixed it. I didn't even think of that. Yeah, that's fucking... I wonder, I don't think you'd be allowed.
You wouldn't be allowed to use it, but like...
Wouldn't be allowed, yeah. But fucking, I would get low, because I was just marching around, because I had nothing else to do, so I was like fucking powering around this thing. I'd get annoyed if anyone was walking faster than me, so I'd make sure I was walking faster than everyone around the thing. And I do shit like I was like teaching myself the alphabet backwards and all this sort of stuff I was just doing just to occupy my mind. I was so bored. And so the week is going on and on, and the cynic gun, which I turned almost off, is just slowly cranking up and cranking up and cranking up. And by day about 7 or 8, I'm just like, oh, this is fucking nonsense. Like it's like fair play to them, but this is utter nonsense. Like, even the whole idea of that you could reach a state where you're perpetually happy is a nonsense. Like, you can't have one without the other, and that whole idea is like ridiculous. The cynic gun is up, but I didn't leave because I told so many people I was going to do this that I didn't want to have to come back and like face all the questions of why you quit early. So I was like, no, fuck it, I'll tough it out. I'll keep doing the thing, and I was getting some stuff out of it. Like I did find that you do learn things about yourself being in such an extreme environment. So I was taking something from it, but overall it was just like, what the fuck am I doing? So we get to the second last day, and that's the point you're allowed to start talking again.
Oh, okay.
So we get to second last day, and now I'm allowed to speak to all these people who I've been in a room with for, I think it was like 11 days. So I'm in a room with all these people. I've never spoken to any of them. The Irish guy actually who I came down with, he left, but he was an old student, so he didn't have to stay for the whole thing. So I never found out if he just got fed up and quit, or if you're an old student, you can go for like 5 or 6 days and leave. So he left. So I was in a room with people I didn't know. So then suddenly we're leaving the room and we're allowed talking, and I was walking, I was like, I don't want to fucking talk to anyone. It was like 2 weeks, and I was happy being silent. But then when you do start talking to people, over the course of the thing, like, I'd be seeing all these people, and I'd be like making up voices for them in my head, making up backstories. It was really weird, like talking to like people. Like, it was like that, that ad. It's me, the guy from the bar.
Yeah.
It was like that. Like, it was like there's so many. You just wouldn't expect the accent to match the person you see. I remember there was one old guy. I don't know why. I just had to convince there was a sports car parked outside. I was convinced it was his. I was convinced he was some real suave businessman. Then I was talking to him, and he was like just thick Midlands accent farmer guy. I was like, oh, okay, weird. But so everyone starts talking again. I get to find out why my roommate was fucking cracking and.
Did you find out why he was putting rocks on the...
No, I didn't want to know. Didn't want to know. But then I got talking...
Probably his pet rocks.
Yeah. They were... I don't know. He was... yeah. Anyway. I got talking to this lad who looked like kind of Jack Sparrow, and he was telling me that he was... he'd done the course because he was growing weed, and his girlfriend... He'd made a bet with his girlfriend that if they got over a certain yield, he'd do the course because she'd done it, and she thought it was great, and they were going to have a kid that year. So he wanted to... So they got the yield, so he went down. But it turned out he was a massive Munster rugby fan, which I wouldn't. Don't judge a book by its cover, but he just didn't look like a rugby fan. But he was fucking massive into it. And Munster were playing, I think it was a European Cup game that night, and he really wanted to go see the game. So he was on to me. He's going, "You're on for breaking out." I'm like, yeah, fuck it.
So we guilt it on the last night.
Yeah. So me and this lad, like we were so like bold. Like I'm sure that there's no reason why we couldn't have just walked out. We were so like bold children. We went down a back way, down where we couldn't no longer see, and we jumped over a wall, and then there was like a service station across the road. So I was like, I need a cigarette. Don't really smoke. My mum might watch this.
You do.
I have an app to prove I'm off them. So I jumped the wall, and I was like, fuck, I need a cigarette. So I go buy rolling tobacco. They had no filters, so I fucking smoked this like unfiltered cigarette. It was a mess. And then we found this fucking shit hotel, which had like, you know, things I was looking forward to was a cigarette, meat, pint of Guinness. Find a shit hotel. Guinness is awful. They serve fucking
terrible.
Chicken nuggets that were disgusting. I still think about how bad they were, and I was so looking forward to this. They're fucking awful. So me and your man, anyway, go watch the match, have a few pints, and then sneak back in. No one says anything. I was actually convinced we'd turn up in our bags and be like in the lobby saying, you failed the test, or maybe he was a trap or something. But yeah, so that was grand. So we got in, did the last day, did the whole clean up. We had to like stay around and clean up, and then drove back to Dublin. Then just got back in the car, whatever, and drove back. The Irish guy gone, so we picked up another Irish guy, a vegan called. His name was a fruit, which I thought was very convenient.
A vegan.
He was a vegan. Yeah, his name was a vegan called.
His name was
like apples or bananas. It was pears, I think. Actually,
his name was Pears.
I think his name was Pears. I was actually wondering about it. Like, is that like, was he like Christian? Pear? Maybe probably was Christian.
Making this up.
No, it was a vegan. Because I remember I had a big argument.
Vegan called Pear.
Yeah, his name was Pears, and he was a vegan, and he had that really pale vegan skin. And
I don't believe it.
no, shout out to the vegans, fair play. I do. No, it's like I had a veggie dinner last night. I can say what I want. I've eaten vegan food. I can say whatever I want. But yeah, so because I remember going back up in the car with him, and like he was. Me and him got into a big fight about how wealth creates misery and you can't be rich and happy, and I was like, fuck you, blah blah blah. So
you were on the side of wealth, or you were on the side of?
I was on the side of wealth within reason. I sound like a dick, but, yeah. So I was on the. Yeah, I don't know. I was on the side of wealth, so we were having a friendly argument. We were arguing the whole way back. So
it was a spirited debate, is what I like to call it.
Spirited debate, yeah. Me and my boy Pears, and I've actually run into him. I ran into him a few times around Dublin 8 afterwards. He was a very nice chap. I just thought it was funny.
Pears, if you're watching this, please comment and tell me you're real, because I don't. It doesn't strike me as a person who uses the internet. Like,
too many animals dying, like hooking up the networks in the sea or something. I don't know.
Oh my God.
Sharks attack the underground pipes. That's happened. Can't be good for them.
Oh, there's so many vegans are going to get so mad.
No. I was fucking basically vegan for a year and a half. I think what you're doing is great. I'm trying to do more.
What does basically vegan mean?
I was going out with a vegan. I was going out to like.
Oh,
that was like Samuel L. Jackson. Like any time in this moment to myself, I'd be like, straight to McDonald's. But no, I'm trying to eat more veggie food. Anyway, that's not what we're talking about.
Argument about Pears.
This is just a road back, and then it was like, so that was the other thing, and this is a really bad admission, but so you had to live the life of a monk, and part of the thing was that you couldn't pay, but when you finished, you were allowed to donate. So I brought cash down with me to donate at the end. I didn't bring very much. So this is the thing. I was unemployed at the time, or I was semi-employed. I was trying to be fucking rock star or whatever. So I was living this like nonsense lifestyle. So I had very little money. So I was like going to donate at the end. But then I was like, your man's like, oh, if you want, you can just do a transfer and you go back to Dublin. I was like, oh yeah, I'll do that. I never actually paid.
You didn't do it?
Didn't pay them. I thought about it loads. I've thought about it loads and loads, and I just never. And I feel really bad about it. I really should have. So I never did. Have you ever? Again, I'm in trouble so much. So, have you ever not given someone a wedding gift? And then
no! And if you do that to me, you're dead!
I know. But I'm only bringing it up because I know other people who this has happened to. I only bring it up because I know I'm not the only one. You don't get them a gift on the day, and then you forget about it. And
I have heard of people send it 3 months later, they totally forgot about it.
A year and a day is the cutoff. But sometimes it just runs on. It almost feels like more embarrassing to own it. And maybe they didn't notice.
I get what you mean.
Maybe they just didn't send cards out.
They definitely didn't notice, but yeah.
Yeah, so that's only happened to me once as well. I'm never going to admit to who it was, but so if you're watching this, I actually feel really bad about it. If it wasn't so weird, I'd actually give you a gift 5 years later. But I'm really sorry. I think about it all the time. If I ever get married, don't give me a gift. Although you probably won't be invited. Yeah, so it was like that. It was like that.
Final insult. Not only did I not give you a gift, now you're not buying it to my wedding.
Yeah, it was like that. Yeah, so I was like, too embarrassed. I was thinking me a gift. I feel even worse than I do now. Oh wow, that's really generous.
Okay, so you didn't pay the retreat. You ate their food for 2 full weeks and you didn't give them any money.
So needless to say,
a lot of food.
Needless to say, I had the last laugh. No, I see. The other thing is, I when I finished it, I was like, I'm never ever doing it again. It's been so long ago now that I'd nearly be tempted to do it again, just because it's so not for the spiritual part of it, but it's so outside your comfort zone.
Yeah.
That it's actually you actually do learn stuff about yourself, and like we all just fucking live our lives in a pretty routine. Like it is kind of good sometimes to like do these things.
I could see the benefit of like a silent weekend with no phones. Like they call them unplugged weekends.
Yeah.
But 2 weeks of it.
Yeah.
Holy no! I don't think I could do it. No.
Yeah, it was extreme. It was really extreme, but it was
It's like a really homesick. I would have left. Definitely would have left.
Yeah, well, I thought about it, but again, it was actually kind of a good thing that I actually told so many people about it that I was like...
That's one question I wanted to ask. How did it go down with your Catholic family and your atheist mates that you were going to a Buddhist retreat for 2 weeks?
I don't know, people just thought I was looking for attention. Like, yeah, off you go, you weirdo. How did it go? Well, actually, what my parents said that really hurt my feelings was we have a relation who's a bit nuts, and I told them I was doing this, and they go, "Oh yeah, she does that," and I'm like, "Fuck, am I that family member?" I was the same, and I actually remember the same family member at my. Like month after my granny died, we were having a debate. You would love this. We were having a debate about women's rugby, and some of the older people at the table and the women as well were like, "Oh, they shouldn't play rugby. It's not a game." And I was like the most vocal defender of no, they play if they want. And like going, of course it's a game. Women are playing it. It's a game for women. That's nonsense. But we were having this big argument. They were like, "No, it's not very late." Like, but the only person at the table who was agreeing with me was this lunatic. So again, I'm like, am I that person? Because that's the thing, you don't know if you're that person.
Yeah.
She probably thinks she's fucking like great.
Liberal. And like just, yeah.
So there's very, very, very good chance that I'm like that person. So my parents said that, and that really hurt my feelings. But didn't really give a shit. Like they're like, yeah, go on down and do whatever.
Enjoy,
Yeah, they were probably like, they'd probably take, obviously my mum would love me to be Catholic, but she'd probably prefer I was Buddhist over atheist.
Over nothing, yeah.
Maybe I don't know. I'd say
try it for the laugh. Just be like, I'm Buddhist now.
No, well, that was the other thing. I gave up meditation for like years after. It was like,
just totally turned you off it.
It was like giving a kid 20 cigarettes and making them smoke them. Like it really put me off. Like I found like literally in the last year, I think I've started getting back into it, and because it was just the thought of it, like because it was just like. Yeah, I don't know, it was like 12 hours a day or 14 hours a day of just fucking breathing in and out through your nose. Like it's
the thing repeating in your head when you're breathing is real weird. I was like,
but there's loads of shit like that, and then there's like, it's just because it's so, when you're trying not to think about something, it's almost impossible. And what they're trying to train you to do is, what you're meant to do is let the thought sail in and just let it sail out, and don't engage with it, and don't don't think against it, don't think for it.
Yeah.
But it's difficult. It's difficult. Yeah.
So I guess the final word on it. Is mindfulness a load of bullshit?
No, mindfulness isn't. Really, mindfulness isn't. I think why do you do it?
No, I'm just like shit stirring. Yes.
No, yeah, pissed off the vegans, pissed off the Buddhists, my parents, the fucking weirdo relations down the west. Like, yeah, that's fucking the list of people I want to slag off. No, mindfulness I think is really good, and I think I'm back into it now. I think it's good to kind of like just even like 10, 15 minutes if you can do it, just a couple of times a week. I think it really helps. I think it's a really good thing. So I would encourage everyone to do it. I would say just be happy if it's working for you. You don't have to
don't have to go extreme.
You don't have to go live in a cult for like
it's
not a cult, but like could have been a cult. Maybe they just couldn't break me. Every time I sleep for that porridge, I was like, the low protein gruel isn't wearing down his resistance. That's all I can think about, like every single day. So.
Yeah, because you started to like the prunes.
Yeah, but I do love prunes. And prunes,
like normally the prunes break people, but he seems to really be into them.
Yeah, lads, as you get older, up your fibre. It's good advice.
So what's it called again?
Vipassana. Vipassana. Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on the Storytime podcast.
Is that 20 minutes?
It's 40.
Oh, nice. So I can't do the elephant thing.
Maybe some other day you can come on and tell us the history of killing elephants, which is not your story, but apparently they're very interesting stories.
They are very interesting stories.
So leave a comment down below if you'd like FANJ to come back on and tell us the history.
You got this far, fair play, like, isn't it?
Remind them where to find you on the internet.
Thomas Fanning with no vowels, or the FANJ with no A. I don't have a problem with vowels, apparently. No.
Okay, I'll just put the links in the description. Thank you very much for watching. We are on YouTube and SoundCloud. Check out the Patreon if you want to support the podcast. And see you next week. Bye.
Cool. There we go. I got 20 minutes out of it.